minor changes to the deck. We cut 2 illuminations for 2 glimmers because I'm still feel like I'm just struggling in the early turns of the game. And hieroglyphic illumination is somewhat like a split card. Like one half of the card is just pay 1 mana or 1 mana draw a card, which at instant speed, which obviously isn't exciting, but when you have a poor draw or you're light on mana or you need particular action, you don't have time to get to 4 mana or whatever, like it can be somewhat relevant. It's going to be worse, obviously, in like mirror matches and versus blue-black control. Um, Maybe even a little worse versus Teamer, though I think they're going to be roughly the same versus Teamer. But those decks have seemed like they've faded in popularity a a fairly large amount right now. Um, the one change when I cut the glimmers, the not having the fourth approach feels like it's going to be a much larger problem, but I want to at least get a 1 match sample size back in, and I wanted some more early interaction. I probably should have went with like the fourth Effer meltdown and a third glimmer, but multiple YouTube video comments have asked me to try to farm the markets again, so I chose those 2 cards instead of the faster meltdown or the more versatile glimmer. I don't like the card. There's been days where it seemed like it's performed. There's been days that I was sold on the card because it performed so well. But there's just been so many matches that it's pretty mediocre versus that overall I've not really enjoyed the card. Like, it started off seeming like it was wonderful, but as my sample size went up and up and up, it went lower and lower and lower in my estimations. And the only changes we made to the sideboard today is we cut the Gearhulks. Again, we're playing versus a lot less control decks. The only deck that I'm really bringing into Gearhulks versus right now are the tokens decks, and I just think that we're such a underdog versus the tokens deck that I'm willing to have no additional sideboard slots for it, no hours of revelation or anything. I'm just willing to lose to it. That's the match I've chose to lose to. I think we're still fine versus the blue-black decks and stuff, but obviously our deck's gotten weaker versus them. I figure instead of us being a favorite versus the non-glint siphoner builds, we're probably a even now. And the mono red match has just been terrorizing me, so that's why we added the additional Sunscourge champions. Like, we're just going overboard for mono red now. We're up to 11 sideboard slots for mono red. Well, Jumping Jack game one is close to a bye. It is nearly impossible to win game one. But the problem with game 2 and 3 is your alternate win conditions, whether it be Kefnet, Regal Caracal, Torrential Gearhulk, um, Rivulets for milling, your alternate win conditions just can't beat that deck. So at whatever point that you tap out 7 mana for your approach, whether it be, when you have 7 mana, whether you have 10 mana, whether you have 14 mana, or whatever, it is just far, far too easy for like the Abzan build to throw a couple of duresses at you and then resolve a Lost Legacy, or for the Esper build to throw a couple of duresses at you, have a negate, and then use a Lost Legacy. Like, if they're mediocre players and they're casting their negates and their loss or their duresses, early in the game and not saving them, sure, you'll beat those players. But versus good players, um, unless they have an advantageous board advantage or whatever, like they're just going to save all of those spells to the turn where you spend 7 mana. And once you spend 7 mana, especially without any hard counters in your deck, it's really, really hard for you to stop something like a Lost Legacy from resolving. Because like even if I wait till the turn where I have like an approach, a negate, and 9 mana, it's easy for them to just have like a duress and a Lost Legacy and I lose. Or if I wait till I draw 2 negates, like if I have that much time, if I have 11 turns because I need 11 mana to do all that, like that means they've had that much time to manipulate their deck too. And with their scrying and stuff, it's easy for them to find more ways to stop our negates than it is for us to force an approach through. But like I said, if they if are we getting closer to an ordinal star? I do not know what that means. Do not know what Ordinal Star is. But yeah, like the tokens match, like I said, game one, relatively easy. Game two and three, if their play skill is at a high point, it is very, very, very hard because it is so easy for them to resolve a Lost Legacy. And just no amount of Regal Caracols and stuff is going to win. Kefnet does do something versus them, but they can typically outgain its lifelink. A lot of them have cast outs. A lot of them have Ixalan's bindings. Things of that nature. If I did want to try to beat the Abzan tokens, or the tokens list in general, I would probably be trying something like Glyph Keeper to beat them. That's probably where I would go. I feel like Glyph Keeper's probably the card I would go to try to win those matches. I think I actually do want the land. Oh, okay, fair. I'm not very bright, man. No lot, George. I promised I'd play this deck, so jamming this deck again, even though I actually don't think this deck's super well positioned at the moment. So we've shaved down to 2 cast outs and we drew them both, which is okay because they both cycle, and I'm assuming when they kept, and this is one of the best cards versus us. It is pretty hard for us to deal with, and it generally always nets a card or two. It could. It could. If it does, it'll be because they figured out a better sideboard plan than me. I just don't think they're that good overall. I don't really like them versus Teamer. The only place that I'm loving them right now is versus Mono Red. And I added a couple more early interactive spells and 3 Sunscourger champions, so hopefully the Mono Red match isn't the issue that it used to be. But basically, I brought in 2 mana spells. I am not Friday Night Magicking, I'm watching the Pro Tour. So this is kind of interesting. This is like a Jund energy list, maybe? Island in my graveyard. Sure, we have enough cyclers, so I'll go ahead and throw that one in the graveyard. I actually thought about cutting these 2 cast outs as well for Ixalan's bindings. That may be something I thought. By the way, sorry for the stream being super late today. My internet was out. And by internet, I mean my power was out, because apparently I can't keep power for an entire week right now without it going out for at least a minute. But it did kick off today and like knock my internet out and stuff. So I could have cast out looking for an Effort Meltdown here, but I wouldn't use an Effort Meltdown here when I plan on using Settle the Wreckage next turn anyway. That's pretty hot. That is definitely pretty hot. What happened for him to make the big refund and stuff? Like, what went wrong? Sounds like there's more details to that story. Actually, I think I value the 5th land more than I do this. I was deciding between cycling this, and this could have been a mistake because they could have Chandra or something. I maybe should have cycled to farmland there. Hey James, long time no see. Hope everything's going well for you. And, yes. We're trying to win. We'll put that in our graveyard. If he doesn't add anything meaningful to the board, it gives us a nice little thing to. Wow, well, that's really nice. George, you're running hot. So he still has 5 cards in hand, and he struggled with land drops this game. Could be going to an extra card with the Siphoner here. And he did. He's drawn 3 extra cards. It's okay, Gobo. Apparently I'll let my mouse over here so we don't have to see that little notification. So if he only attacks with 1 creature or whatever here, I can just cast Glimmer. Which is one of the beauties about Settle the Wreckage. Settle the Wreckage kind of like makes your opponent play the game that you want them to play. And if he just attacks with all 3 and then we get to settle all 3, it's not that big of a deal since we have 2 additional Wraths in our hand. Thinking about just taking this 4. I think I will. I think using Glimmer and Fumigate's just as good because he's probably going to add something to the board. I actually think Blue-White Breach is a reasonable deck as far as Modern goes. I don't think there's any good decks in Modern. Though I do think there's plenty of medium decks. Giante, is this the Jabberwocky list that we're playing versus? Or is it just Jund Energy? Whatever it is, they still have 6 cards, which is kind of frightening. I guess we'll put the Fumigate on bottom and the land on top. Search for Azcanta in my graveyard. Delio. When does Kaladesh rotate? I'm not actually sure. Let's see. What's in standard? Let's see. Well, so that's massively disappointing. It looks like Kaladesh rotates until quarter 2018. I don't know what that means. In quarter 4, the end of 2004 or 2008, the end of 2018. There we go. Figured it out. So like this card's kind of a huge deal. It's going to be a little hard for us to beat. It's going to be certainly hard for us to beat when we draw mono lands. Well, if he casts 3 Gantes and hits all 3 approaches, we just don't win. So this card closes the game very quickly. He's not showed us any of the blue splash yet, though. So I still just don't know whether he's Jund or whether he's a different build. Whatever it is, though, we are 22 cards deep in our deck, and we've not hit a... I should have kept one of those Rivulets. Milling both of those Rivulets was wrong, by the way. Or discarding both Rivulets was wrong. I should have kept one. Alright, well, this game just becomes super hard to win. Like, it was already kind of hard to win, but now it is just super hard to win. In fact, we can no longer win this game. We just lost. Can't actually win this game anymore. I'm not going to concede because I don't want opponent to know that I only have 2 cast outs in my deck. But I have no way to remove this Gideon from the table now. So we'll go through the motions just to deny our opponent a little information. I know it's kind of boring on the stream, but it doesn't look like we were really going to draw anything anyway. I thought we were in a commanding shape that game. That's fair. He could swing with the Gideon, but I highly doubt he'll swing with the Gideon. Oh, you were right. He's going to swing with the Gideon. Still have to find a way to beat this Vraska in 3 turns for the most part, but he did in fact swing with the Gideon. I have not tried the Drakehaven version, but I would kind of like to. I was actually looking at it today when I was trying to figure out which version of Approach I was going to play, and it was close. I wasn't 100% happy with the list, and I didn't feel like didn't really feel like tuning. He did in fact attack. Scarab God Arena. That's a pretty good one, but it's also nothing I'm super worried about. Though I am pretty worried about this card. Especially if we never draw our approach, which is one of the big issues when you play 3 approaches. You often just don't draw an approach. So we scryed 1 card to the bottom even, so we're 27 cards deep now. Be hard for us to even get back to the approach before we were dead. He's got like 1,000,000 mana. Can damn near buy back 3 things. I'm just pressing F6. I'll press F3 or whatever when he attacks, if this thing attacks. If not, I'll just take the 2. This is not sideboarded. This is main deck. Though we don't really get any better post-board versus them. Had to bring in some, like, cats. That's pretty much it. Don't even... Might not even bring in... I guess we have to bring in the cats just because he has black mana and could have Lost Legacy. Not sure what we'll sideboard out. Hey, Ricky Inception, what's up, man? It could be. I'm not necessarily sure. Why he attacked with the Scarab God too. I think Sneak's a reasonable deck. What is this? Does he have 3 mana for something? Oh, he's gonna just kill his own Scarab God, sure. Very few. I pretty much bring cats in nearly every match. Hey, thanks for the follow, Ricky Inception. Hey, Joe Zero. It's going pretty well. We're getting browned right now, but it's fine. So 4, 8, 10. Guess he could have Blossoming Defense or something, so I won't do it main phase. If 60% of your players are teamer, I would just play blue-white approach personally. It's like the one match you want to play in the entire meta. Um, black red controls, or sorry, black red aggro's not great in that match, but like it's passable. All right, I guess we'll just go down to 2 here. I don't actually think this game's particularly winnable at this point. But then again, I've not thought it was winnable for multiple turns. So this is the other Scarab God. Don't actually know what I could hit here because I'm going to die to this trigger no matter what. Maybe I should have cast Settle that turn. But if I cast Settle that turn, I'm just dead next turn. Alright, well, we're dead. 27, so we went 33 cards deep and didn't find an approach. Never going to win that game. No, you're pretty well set for teamer matches. Alright, so we're going to bring in the 4 cats. It's a little bit slower match, so we're going to like shave some of this smaller interaction, but for the most part we keep the deck roughly the same as it is. I don't really like taking the sensors out. I mean, he could have. We don't know that. Yeah, this hand's keepable. Wow, so many people talking. Can't keep up. Not smart enough. Let me read all this. The biggest thing about playing a large tournament is just playing what you're comfortable with. The 2 most popular decks, probably Mono Red and Teamer. Hey, Marius ZGGGGG, thank you for the follow. This is the most interactive my chat's ever been. We have a Gideon. I have a reasonable hand, but we're going to need to find some lands. Hopefully we just draw it and don't have to use the Supreme Will for it. On Moto, red and random token lists are probably the next biggest or next most popular matches. I say random token list because I'm not actually sure which is more popular between Esper or Abzan. They like kind of steal from each other, but just like hidden stockpile lists in general are probably the second or third most popular deck. Well, probably third. Red deck wins, probably gets played a little more, but performs a little worse. I actually think Gideon's fairly good versus Teamer. It's fairly good versus red deck wins as well. But it's terrible versus tokens. It's terrible versus blue black control. It's terrible game 1 in the mirror, but it's okay. Well, it's not terrible, I guess. It's below average game 1 in the mirror, but it's pretty good game 2 and 3. So it really just depends on your meta. If it's a lot of teamer, or it's a lot of teamer, a lot of red, then the Gideon's not bad. It's kind of interesting. Just like plays the land and cycles his red source. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. All right. Well, I want my land more than anything. For my black white insight. Um, the reason that I think approach is so good in game 1, George, is specifically because uh people don't have cards in their main deck that interact with approach. So like if you're just playing cats and gearhulks in your main deck, your deck's probably fine. Like any blue white control deck's going to be reasonable no matter what your kill condition is. But you just make your opponent's cards more alive, and you run out the free win scenario, which is, if you notice, is kind of how I sideboard. Like the approach is not really something I'm concerned about games 2 and 3, but it's so good game 1 versus so many opponents. Kind of like him to get a creature that can attack. Yeah, I know, L. I was just making a joke. Making a joke. Wasn't trying to be serious. My jaded sarcasm does not play well over the internet. You know, I've actually thought about turning this deck into kind of like a uh, mill my opponent out post board plan. Think that might work better than the cats. I actually think it's reasonable to mill a lot of decks out post board. Really? Can't get your hands on the farm to market. That sucks. Where'd you say you were from? Jamaica's where it was, right? Yeah. Wow. That kind of sucks, but I understand that where we live locally, it's pretty hard to also find like random commons and uncommons, and even some of the, like cheaper rares. Like it's easier for me to find a Scarab God here than it would be for me to find a Fumigate, for example, or like a Regal Caracol. That would be probably pretty hard for me to find locally. I do not think I'm going to run the big freaking fish, but I do believe there is other things that I can run. Hey, Brian, what's up, man? Long time. Yeah, 4 Effort Meltdowns is a card that I actually think I might want because of Mono Red. Yeah, okay, Corey has cats he can loan me. I'm talking about for trade. Like, there is zero chance somebody's going to trade me, or Corey's going to trade one of his Regal Caracols. Very unlikely, George. I have zero interest to fly to Spain or anywhere. I have no idea where that where that Pro Tour qualifier qualifies you for, but whatever it is, I have zero desire to go to it. Yeah, well, we didn't find the 4th land, but luckily our opponent's not doing anything yet. It's just because the mana cost is so high. But there's no chance I'm going to go to Spain. But I don't. I think it's for Richmond. I think it's PTQs for Richmond. And a positive note is if we miss land for 2 more turns, we can discard this to hand size. Hee! Sorry, I was clapping my hands. Okay, I take that back. We cannot discard this card to hand size. I hate you, deck. I hate you so much. How dare you take my settled wreckage? That card had wreckages to settle. Dallas Fort Worth. I think that's what DFW means. Hey, hello, Scarab Godorino. Oh, we hit a land. What good are you? Eh, my land doesn't really do anything. I want to cast Fumigate here. I can't imagine why I would want to. He's got to deal with the Gideon long before this Fumigate ever matters. Don't really just want to play the cat into Scarab God either. It's too easy for him to untap and like Vraska and kill the cat and then buy it back. I know he can turn it into a 4-4 or whatever, but I want to scry more than I care about him turning it into a 4-4. With a 7 mana approach, Stone wins the game. The 8 mana fish requires another card. It really depends on what build of the deck you're playing. But I typically shave on a couple trimmers, or I typically shave on a couple glimmers and a couple supreme wheels. I'm testing shaving the sensors in this particular game, but like that's probably wrong. It probably should have just been supreme wheels. Wait, stop that moto. Thank you. We're playing a 26 land build of this deck, so like being thin on lands is kind of a tilt. Also, I should have used this before I used this. So I want both of those lands. That's kind of a problem. I can't really discard a cat. The Effort Meltdown at least stops the Servant. I definitely put cats in because the cats are just such a quality roadblock. It stops all of their ground aggression. It just buys you more and more time, and buying time's like the main thing you want with Blue White Approach. Like I said, it's pretty good versus Teamer. I do not find this deck to be particularly good in the current meta, though. Like, I'm not advocating playing this deck. Unless you know you're getting paired versus a bunch of Approach. I think this deck's very bad versus tokens. I think it's medium bad versus mono red, and I think it's medium bad versus blue black that sideboards correctly. Luckily, not every blue black deck sideboards correctly. I would probably never main deck Gearhulk because I'm too afraid of Scarab Gods. Like, a lot of the Teamer decks can even have Scarab Gods. It's just such a liability when they do. It's like, these cats are doing stone nothing here. And I don't think they'll do anything this entire game. And it's mostly because of this card. I misclicked and took a point of damage. That's kind of a tilt. Also, don't sideboard in Gear Hulks if you know that they have gods. You can bring in Gear Hulk if they don't have Scarab God. Like, you know, like say you've settled a Wreckage Dome or whatever, and they've never showed you a Black Source in game one or whatever, then Gear Hulk's fine to sideboard in. But any deck that's has Scarab God, you can't really sideboard it in because they can just. It's just so easy for them to, like, deal with one Gear Hulk via a random removal spell or a random counter spell or you having to fumigate or whatever, and then like their Scarab God just buys back all their negates and stuff, which is just crippling. Uh-oh. We got a problem here, Lucy. He hit a cast out. Probably going to cast one of these even though I don't want to. Because we're on what I like to refer to as a short clock at the moment. If he has a negate or something, we probably can't win. It's pretty easy for him to have a negate. No, ask all the questions you want. That's one of the beautiful things about chatting. That's one of the things that makes the stream worthwhile. Like being able to talk to people. If he's negating this, we are in super bad shape because that means he has a number of negates. Like he wouldn't negate just this without having another negate in his hand. So he's going to have a removal spell for this. I don't think that really affects much. Like, we knew it was a possibility, which is why we were holding it for so long, but we're kind of like in desperate straits now. We're on like a 3-turn clock, so anything that gets us like an additional blocker feels like it's reasonable. We know our Gear Hulk is 6 cards down, and I really think he just has another negate in his hand. So I believe we're going to have to draw like a Fumigate or something to get by this game. Well. So now we know it's 5 cards down, so we know providing, as long as he doesn't have a Gonti in his hand, we get to draw our approach next turn, but it's probably not good enough. Just something we have to worry about. If he just has a second negate, we lose. That's fair, Ricky. The trick is to drive to the other side of the island. If you drive to the other side of the island and then play over there somewhere. I'm obviously kidding when I make a comment like that, but... Yeah. Not good for us. Show me potato salad. So we know we're drawing approach. And when he shows us the second negate, we just lose. Yep. which it was pretty obvious that he had it. Pretty obvious that he had it and or was playing very mediocre. But we're just dead now. He even gets to kill one of our blockers. So we're going to take 4, 10, 12. So we're dead even if he doesn't kill a blocker, I think. No, we're not dead if he doesn't kill a blocker. Yeah, we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're dead even if he doesn't kill a blocker. Yeah, and we're dead. Opponent had 1 minute and 28 seconds left on his clock. Round 2. So what did we learn game 1? We learned that not having the full 4 cast outs sucks. Definitely want 4 cast outs. We also learned that we really want the 4th approach. I have no idea how to work those in. Did I update that? Yes, we updated that. So if we wasn't in a league, we would immediately add the 2 cast outs back in. I mean, 1, he could have had another Gideon or another negate, but 2, all he had to do is use the Vraska to kill one of my blockers. So like we were still dead on board, just to the Vraska. He may have already did the math. I mean, he could have missed it. Who knows? Maybe he misses it, but like we were dead on board if he didn't miss it. The Vraska minus kill one of our blockers. Your list is too offensive, George. So this hand's pretty reasonable. I'm never going to mulligan any Search for Azcanta 2-land hand versus an unknown opponent. I would mulligan it versus certain opponents, but certainly never versus an unknown opponent. This is like the one other match that not having the full 4 cast outs is bad in. Actually, I was pretty happy not having the 4 cast outs last match, but opponent's got a good draw. We have a pretty reasonable draw ourselves. And we drew an approach, which is the most important thing. I think Ixalan's Binding is very good. I believe it to be very good in this format. I think it is criminally underplayed. I think it's a card that belongs in my 75 somewhere. I just don't know how to get it there. So he probably takes this. It as a card is better than Cast Out, but the Cast Out cycling is so absurdly huge, especially in a deck that has to have so many things that goes right. So, like, I think they're better in different decks. Like, if I was playing a bunch of Champion of Wits and, you know, like a similar deck like that, where I could smooth out my draw steps more, then I would definitely play Ixalan's Binding. But a deck like this is just so finicky on how it draws. My opponent's playing a God Pharaoh's Gift deck. Which God Pharaoh's Gift deck's he playing? Not exactly sure, but he's definitely playing a God Pharaoh's Gift deck of some kind. We don't know if he has the white. Opt is kind of a underpowered card, but again, it's something that can smooth your draw steps, and like, I don't actually know whether it should be used or not. I've tried both builds, I've tried 4 ops, I've tried 2 ops, I've tried 0 ops. I can't really tell a difference in the consistency of either one. I don't know if it's just because I'm not putting a big enough sample size in for the test or what, but I can't really tell a difference. I think mono red is considerably stronger. I do not think blue black control is a very good deck, and if Jay was here, or not Jay, yeah, Jay. If Jay was here, he'd probably slap me for that comment. I do not I don't even find blue black control to be a tier 2 deck. Like, I think blue black control loses to mono red. I think it loses to the black red aggro decks. I think it loses to blue white approach unless you play Glint Siphoner. And I think Glint Siphoner is bad versus every other match in the format. I think it loses to the God Pharaoh's Gifts decks. I think it loses to I think it loses to basically everything that doesn't have energy. No, Jay's fine with me. I was saying he would hate me for calling his baby bad. Jay loves blue black control. I was saying he would hate me for saying blue black control is bad. I was trying to be funny. I like Jay. I was trying to make a joke. Alright. Confirmed, J Bone Capone is a terrible person. Fine. I'm fine with it. Quote me. Cut it out. Send it to him. Then he won't make me breakfast anymore. Apparently my jokes are very bad. So this is one of the times a hieroglyphic illumination is worse than Glimmer. Vraska's Contempt as a main deck? Do I want to put that? No, I guess we need the land. It's only 5 creatures, so unless he has a Walking Ballista, I don't have to worry about a God's Pharaoh gift this turn. Which is pretty nice. Well, a lot of changing your opinions, increasing your sample size and stuff too, right? No, of course he had the Walking Ballista and the Gate. So now he gets the Bloodscat back and he takes our cast out, and we're still in pretty reasonable shape. we're not in reasonable shape at all anymore, by the way. This is very, very bad for us. Very, very bad for us. Kind of really need to draw our other cast out. Snap put a planes in the graveyard? Yep. That's another cast out. Just go ahead and get the God Pharaoh's gift. Also going to cycle this, in case I had it come into play tap land, which I did not. It ran pretty well on that draw step. It's not over yet, though. He can just find another freebooter, and we have some issues. A lot of these Esper builds are only running one God's Pharaoh's Gift right now. Probably not, Joe Zero. I'm really, really against coming to play tap lands, especially in a deck that's got such a high density of mana cost. Settle the wreckage to my graveyard. I'll keep it just in case things go poorly here. Just in case things go poorly, we'll keep it. So we basically have to avoid a discard spell. And as the kids say, it's Gucci if we do. Huh, we avoided a discard spell. Play around that sensor, baby. Hey, coolest cat of Corey. By the way, for those of you who don't know, we need to say thank you to Corey Coolcat for all of the graphics and stuff you see on our screens. So took approach to Magic Marathon weekend. No, all of the beautiful graphics, like our donation board, our overlay, everything. I agree with Reggie. Alright, so anyway, we're playing versus that weird God Pharaoh's crap. Shouldn't say God Pharaoh's crap, God Pharaoh's gift. So they play Hostage Takers and they play Scarab Gods. Some builds play Lost Legacy, other builds do not play Lost Legacy. So I really don't know about the alternate win condition here. It's pretty hard to resolve an approach already versus them. And they don't really pressure you very much, so you don't need as many of these like interactive spells. You're really just trying to like resolve one of these 7 to start with. I don't know what the last card to take out is. I think I'm going to try a Censor again, even though until today I've been very against ever siding Censors out. Probably not going to sideboard a Censor out. I don't know whether I want the cats or not either. Like, if they're not playing Lost Legacy, I don't want the cats. If they are playing Lost Legacy, I need the cats. So it's like kind of weird. I think we'll just shave one of these and hope he's not playing Lost Legacy. And we've won game 1, so if he does happen to have Lost Legacy, we'll try to figure out some additional win condition post board, but it's pretty hard. Alright, we'll keep this hand. This hand's practically everything we want. Yep, I've cut the Gearhulks at this point because there's just too many Scarab God decks running around. Like, I can't bring them in versus blue-black control. I can't bring them in versus half the teamer matches. I couldn't bring them in this match, for example. Don't want to bring them in versus mono-red. So, like, the only place that I really want them is the mirror. So he's probably going to take our only good card. I can bring them in versus the teamer decks that I know don't have Scarab God. I'm going to go with Mohammed just because it's the name I can pronounce. Yeah, that Eternalized deck looked pretty sweet. I was a fairly large fan of that deck. I enjoyed playing it. I would certainly play it again at some point as well. They can coop it, but the problem isn't. I'm not worried about it dying, and I'm not worried about them taking control of it. I'm worried about it dying, then them using it with their Scarab God to buy back negates. That's what I'm worried about. So opponent's down to 2 cards in his hand already, but he's got this in play that has to be dealt with. You know, I don't even know the rules of squash. I don't think I've ever saw a squash match. He hit 2 creatures with 2 activations. That's pretty bad for us. So he's at 4 right now, and he has at least 3 more activations. There's about 0 chance he's not God's Pharaohing us. And he hit a Cat Self Rebooter. Which is pretty darn good itself. Oh, wow. That's kind of interesting. That game does not seem like an easy game to me. Kind of considering casting Fumigate. I have 0 relevant cards in my hand. Like, he can get this going anytime he wants to begin with. I think I'm just going to play off the top of my deck. I can't stop the gate anyway, so might as well just let him have it. Like, if he didn't have the 2 ministers in play, I would just keep taking damage, but where he has the 2 ministers in play, he can use the gate when he wants anyway. So I kind of want to get the God Pharaoh's gift on the table. Feel like we have to get exceptionally lucky to win this game. I don't think this affects us being lucky. Didn't want him to draw that, because now he gets to champion. I wanted him to have to spend this turn to get the freebooter out of his graveyard. I feel like I'm very, very far behind this game. I feel like I have to draw like Cast Out into Fumigate. Or like Cast Out into Approach to even have a chance. And like those things may not be good enough because of the Champion of Wits. Like a Fumigate's not even great because he's got a second freebooter in his graveyard. But at this point, I figure he'll be able to get a negate. We have drawn, what is this, like 11 lands or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11 lands out of 15 cards, so that's pretty unlucky, but I don't remember what we did with this guy. Oh, he just made us discard it with duress. Sure. The negate doesn't do anything. Alright, we're done here. So we have no idea whether he's playing Lost Legacy or not. So we're probably just going to get Lost Legacy to game 3 and cut ourselves. I don't think I want to change anything. Maybe I don't want auto 40s. I don't really need auto 40s. I just need one. And I just need it sometime before he's like slapping me with stuff. Like I don't need it early. Maybe I could even cut down to 2, but I don't know what third card I would bring back in. I don't really want to bring back in a farm to market. Yeah, this hand's a keep. This hand is a search for Ascanto on turn 2, providing he doesn't have duress, so it's a pretty snap keep. And we have the best card in our deck in play, so if there was ever a game we were going to win, it'll be this one. Incoming Freebooter. Freebooter is such an improvement for their deck. Losing Selfless Spirit was pretty bad though, so. Oh. That's better for us than a Freebooter. That's much better than a Freebooter for us. Don't really want any card in my hand. The card I want the most in my hand, I guess, is Supreme Will, just because I can kind of like use it for an impulse. No, come back to us, Supreme Will. Planes easily to the graveyard. Don't even have to put any thought into that, really. What have you been into today, young Corey? Is this the freebooter? No. Okay, not a freebooter. That's great. So now we'll at least get to attempt to cast a Glimmer, probably. So you went ahead and put that in the graveyard, which is fine. Glacial Fortress into the graveyard? Sure. Don't think we need to keep that land when we have a Glimmer in our hand. Probably a champion. Is a champion. Could have censored it, but not really worried about it. Probably just going to cast Fumigate next turn, so I'm not that worried about it. Depends on how many creatures he discards, whether I cast a Fumigate or not. If he discards 2 creatures, I may not. I don't know, maybe I should have countered that. He's got a Minister, though. He's going to get the cards in his deck, or in his graveyard in 1 or 2 turns regardless. So it seems like more advantageous just to cast a Glimmer. I put the Supreme Will on the bottom. I don't remember your team, but I'm pretty sure I thought everybody's team was kind of bad. He didn't mill himself with this. Apparently, mill search for Azcanta, draw search for Azcanta. Oh yeah, it is, Chris. Got that 8th place trophy locked right up for you. That 8th place trophy dedicated for Chris Areno. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, kind of want the land. I guess it. I guess that was a play mistake. Sure, we'll put it in our graveyard just so we can flip this thing. So let's look at Corey's team. No, I think you're dead money, Corey. Freebooter. I don't really want any card in my hand, so I guess that's fine. Dead money, Corey. If I was guessing, I would say. If I was guessing, I would say Rob or Christian will win. That would be my guess. If I took a real 5th pick instead of a kind of trollish 5th pick, I might have had a chance. So I'll take this one. Really need to draw a land. Well, I can't put that in my graveyard either. Alright, well, we're in problem. I tried to take a pick of one player from 4 major teams and then my little wild card. I'm in pretty bad shape right now. He's only got 6 mana. I think he was trying to probably buy back the Champion of Wits, but you can't, son. Still has 2 cards in his hand. Yeah, well, let's start with Azcanta. Another negate that I don't really want. Cycle you. It's a land. I guess that's fine. Cycle you. So this was a turn that the Illumination was better than the Glimmer. It's important to keep up with that. Put an island to the graveyard. Why, yes. Always no. Draw our card. So 2, 2. Alright. Really needed to be able to cast a... Like, it was very important that turn that I cast a approach. But again, we don't have one. We've scryed, let's see, 3, 6, I think 8 cards to the bottom. So we found one approach in our top 33 cards. Hey, Cuts. What's up, man? Second negate, or I could probably negate that if I feel like it, but let's look at our library first. We're going to take the approach. I guess we can negate this. I don't really know if we need to. I don't really think our negate does much though, so. I assume we're just about to get Lost Legacied, and that's fine. Sure, no. Draw. So 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 7. I am what they refer to as the math whiz. Alright, so we know the approach is 7 cards down. Are we just dead? Are we just dead, folks? Already 6 cards deeper in our opponent. I assume they're a 4 Rivulet deck. I can hide all that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So if I draw on land, I can cast the authority to settle and use an Azcanta? Or like... So, El Championo Witterino. It's not bad for him. So he has 4 creatures in his graveyard now. 5, 6. Rivulet in our graveyard. Snap, yes. So that's 2 cards, so we're at 5 down now. I guess I don't care if I take damage this turn. So we're just going to pass. So a freebooter, you say? I don't think I care about a freebooter. Because, mainly, I can't do anything about it, so why would I care? I thought I had a settle the wreckage for that. Like, I'm not worried about him attacking. The freebooter was kind of bad for us. So, like, we have all the options in the world right now, but, like, none of them seem like they matter. Like, the only thing that matters is what's in his hand. In my professional opinion, anyway. So if he takes a negate, that means he's only got one counterspell in hand. If he... Which gives us actually quite a bit of information. If he takes the cast out... Yep, so he's only got one counterspell in his hand, I think. I guess he could just have this cast out too. Alright, fine. There's nothing I can do about it. Sure. Again, not much I can do about this. Or, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, we're going to take the negate. And we're going to get a large attack in here if he wants. Don't really care what he does. All we want to do is hit one untapped land in our top 3 cards. Because we know we have to keep the approach on top. Trophy Mage does something, I'm not exactly sure what. So you got another gate to the afterlife. Sure, we'll take 4, I guess. Certainly not using the settle. We'll take 8 then. Doesn't matter, I'm not casting anything but Glimmer this turn. So, this is the moment of truth. Just need one untapped land and the top 3 cards. Well, we get more than 3 cards, to be honest. We get 3 cards with this, 4 cards with this, and then a 5th card with our draw steps. So, need one untapped land and our top 5 cards. We can just get it in our top 2. I guess if he has double Spell Pierce, we would be in bad shape. Censor in the graveyard, sure. No flip. Draw. Land. Whee. With negate back up, if he's got double Spell Pierce, we're just dead. If he's only got one Spell Pierce, we're fine. We did it, fam. We're on the boards. We gotta win. Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. So he had another negate. Yeah, he shouldn't have tapped out like he did. He could have played that game or game much differently, probably. Anyway, we did it. We did it, fam. We beat the Lucky Loose. So again, really hating that I've cut cast outs. The main reason I tried to cutting the cast outs today was I looked at ORS's stream earlier and he was playing 0 cast outs and he said they were pretty bad, so I figured I would shave a couple and try, and I immediately regret it. I want 3 to 4 cast outs. Well, I'll rephrase. I want 3 to 5 cast out effects. There could be some of them could be Ixalan's bindings. Like, I'm not sold on them having to be cast out, but I need that type of effect. What are you into today, Mr. Dumberini? So we'll play first. This hand's solid. This hand's the type of hand that brings all the boys to the yard. Man, it is cold in my house. By the way, for the late night AM stream, because I'll be streaming pretty early tonight, because I am going to watch all of the Pro Tour tomorrow, so that means most of my day tomorrow will be occupied. But because of such, tonight's stream will be probably around midnight or 1 Eastern, somewhere in that general area. I'm not exactly sure which. But we'll probably do the Innistrad Flashback Showdown thing, because that looked kind of fun, and I like that era of decks really a lot, so that's what we're going to look toward, or look to play. Hopefully we'll get some deck that has either Delver or Huntmaster in it. I've not actually looked at what decks are legal because I want the full surprise. I want to be surprised by it. Like, I don't want to metagame for it or think about it. I want to be like, bring back the nostalgia and stuff. So that's probably what we'll do this evening. Hey, McCarty, what it is, man? Long time no see. Hope everything's going well for you. So our opponent's playing a brew. Oh god, I forgot, Geo. Sphinx's Revelation's legal in that format, isn't it? Oh god. Alright, I now no longer want a Delver deck, and I no longer want a Huntmaster deck. I want something with Sphinx's Revelation, or I don't want to play. No, it's probably... Sphinx's Revelation might not be legal. I don't know if it's just, I don't know if it's at what point during Innistrad that they cut it back. Like, I'm assuming there's a Wolfrun deck. There's probably a Falconrath Aristocrat deck. Sphinx's Revelation may be legal. Sphinx's Rev was... It about has to be legal, right? So this is a Deeproot champion? Gotcha. Yeah, well, anyway, that's what we want now. We want that deck. We'll not be satisfied if we don't get that deck. I'd also accept... I think there's, like, Gas of St. Traph's in the format, so I'm pretty sure there'll be, like, a Hexproof type deck with, like, a bunch of auras and stuff. Those are pretty fun to play. Yeah, I dislike that it's random to get a deck, but... Everything good, man. Alright, well, that is most certainly what we want, then. That is the dream. But yeah, we'll probably play at least one of those tonight. Nah deck. I'm not actually sure what the Nah deck would be. That one's over me. Is it like Wolfrun Ramp with white, or is it an actual full Nah deck? Fair enough. We will see. And if it goes fast, we might even play two. But it's going to be like I said, it's going to be a late night stream because the Pro Tour is going to be on tomorrow during the day. The Pro Tour is going to last like 11 hours, and um, I personally want to watch the Pro Tour, and I assume most other people would prefer to watch the Pro Tour than like my random stream anyway. So therefore, going to stream many hours before the Pro Tour starts. And then we're going to get us some nice rest, and we're going to get out our bag of chips and some ice cream and enjoy the crap out of the Pro Tour. From the comfort of my couch with a smile. Efferling and Obsidat. Yeah, man, Obsidat's a fun card. So is Efferling. Man, I'm actually pretty excited about it. What the hell am I doing playing Standard? Birds of Paradise? Oh, I forgot about that too. Riddle Form. Alright, I think Riddle Form's good enough to counterspell. Because the card's kind of frightening. I think I'm actually going to cycle this as well. We already have this to draw. Well, I guess not draw, but like loot two cards in a sense. Farmlands to the graveyard, snap yes. Buy back this thing. So this puts at 7 cards for the following turn. While leaving us with a Supreme Will for this turn. So, like, we're getting places, we're just getting there slow. I have not tested Deserts Hold in this deck because I'm not running enough Deserts in general. If I was going to add the extra Deserts, like the Cycling Deserts, I would probably try the Esper list first, which means I also wouldn't be trying Deserts Hold, but like Deserts Hold does things. The life gain's relevant, its ability's relevant, but overall I think it's worse than Cast Out and Binding for this particular style of deck. Now, if I didn't have so many blue cards, like say I was playing a version that had maybe green and Hour of Promise, or like a version that had like red and maybe Sunbird's Invocation, you know, like if I wasn't relying on mostly being a blue deck, then that's something that I would want to try maybe. But I don't think I want to try it in this particular build of the deck. I think I would have to make quite a few changes to this deck to want to try it. Really? It's your kryptonite. Just add more Lost Legacies. That's the trick. Just add more Lost Legacies. So we're probably flipping this. Can't imagine not flipping this turn, but we'll see what this last card is first, and then we'll make a decision. How early do you cast your negates and your duresses? I think we'll go ahead and mill that, and we'll flip it. So it's a very good chance that he has like Blossoming Defense or something here. Which I'm absolutely fine with if he does. I'm actually going to throw a counterspell on this. Just to try to get more cards out of his hand. It makes him attack the Gideon next turn anyway, and we get to repeat the entire process on the following turn while we're still taking no damage. He could have another dive down, he could have a Spell Piercer and a gate. I'm not worried about any of that. That doesn't really do anything. My ability still resolves. I guess it does make this to a 4-4 or whatever. I think it's a 4-4. Oh no, it's a 5-5. Okay. Yeah, because he cast 2 spells this turn. It's like getting closer to killing us. Uh-oh. Now we got a problem, folks. Actually have a legitimate problem now. JK, no problem. Never didn't have it. Never didn't have it. JK, no problems at all. We Gucci. I need to stop saying Gucci. What the world do you do? Oh, sweet. That card rocks. I've never read that card before. I didn't draft that format any. So there's a lot of the commons and uncommons from that format that I'm not super familiar with. Well, there's another. Wee. Search for Azcanta. Wee. I want to take the Fumigate. It's got a lot of power in play. I feel like there's some chance that I can just beat him with attacking. Alright, opponent's had enough. Opponent says, don't want no more. So, how do we sideboard versus the deck that has a lot of little ground attackers? I guess we bring in a lot of little ground blockers. Can't imagine wanting any of these versus him. I don't think I really want the sensors either, but the sensors do something, I guess. I don't think I want negate, but negate's probably okay because of his negate. It's just like sitting here laughing because this looks like the worst thing in the world. We're on the draw, right? Let's go down to 25 lands on the draw. So tell us about that match, Trickery. Like, how's it been playing out for you? How have you been sideboarding? How have they been sideboarding? You know, the whole 9 yards. Like, what are you? What's been the hippity happity? Ooh, that's not too bad. We'll keep this hand, even though it's pretty bad, but they mulligan and we have a lot of things we can cycle. I know, it was a PPPTQ. You were just asking about them. Standard. I think I at least want one more of these lands, so. May cycle the next one. Oh, I'm certainly not going. Again, I'm not traveling anywhere ever. When they put another Pro Tour in Columbus or Louisville, let me know. That's when I'll play another PTQ. Hey, hey, hey! Edsy, thank you for the follow. Much appreciative. Hey, St. Matt, post it up in chat. I'm sure somebody will have some comments about it. Alright, so he has 4 cards in hand, and we have a Settled Wreckage and a Fumigate. Jund Energy Aggro. Let's check it out. Let's throw it over on the main page so that people on YouTube can see it. So like anybody who wants to can like take a screenshot or press the pause button or whatever. And then let's flip back over here where I can look at it on the other monitor. Let's see, what do you got here? You got 20 lands. Kind of feels thin, but you don't have any 4 or 5 drops. You stop at 3, so that might be okay. You do have a 5 drop in your sideboard and a 4 drop in your sideboard. Multiple 4 drops in your sideboard. You have 2 5 or 2 4 drops in your main deck as well. What's the worst matchup against this deck? At a low skill level, mono red is your worst matchup. At a high skill level, tokens is your worst match. Sure. It really just depends on what you're getting paired versus. I think I'm going to go ahead and slam this thing. It buys me a lot of time, and he could just have counter spells anyway for the Fumigate, or for the, like a Heroic's Intervention or something. Because at lower skill levels, players don't know how to use their duresses and negates properly, and you can't really mess up the red deck. Like, an average player with a red deck isn't, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not calling red decks easy to play. But, like, the red deck's entire theme pretty much is casting spells, or sorry, casting creatures and turning them sideways. Obviously, there's a lot more in-depthness to it than that, but in this particular match, there's not much more in-depth than that. Like, the red mirror matches, or like red versus creature decks and stuff like that, they're a lot more thought-provoking. But, like, red plays pretty hand-in-cheek versus the blue-white approach deck. It just does its thing, and you can't really do anything about it. Unless you draw well. Whereas the Abzan, there's a lot more intricacy and ways for them to make errors versus you. I don't really like doing this, but he doesn't have a blue mana untapped, and when he gave that thing flying, he kind of forced my hand. Anyway, back over to what we were looking at the Jund list. Sorry, I got distracted. On a personal level, I would like a 21st or a 22nd land. I don't really think you have enough artifacts for Unlicensed Disintegration. I think your Fatal Pushes and your Harness Lightnings are both just better than it. I know you've got Scrap Heap Scroungers and Heart of Kiran, so like you have 7 artifacts, but I probably wouldn't play the full 4 hearts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, like, I actually think red decks are kind of complicated to play. I just don't think it's complicated to play versus this deck. So, like, I'm not trying to be little red decks. I'm just saying that, like, we have so little interaction with them. Like, they really don't have to try too hard to beat us. But whereas, like, at a lower skill level, knowing when to use your duresses, your negates, and your lost legacies and stuff like that is pretty impactful from the tokens list. I guess I have two answers to this at instant speed, so we'll just use those. We're at 6 cards, by the way. 6 cards get until we get our thing back. So another riddle form. It's a little disappointing, but we're at 18 life, so I think it's fine. We're gonna try to farm this one. See if we can bait out a counter spell, a dive down, or a blossoming defense or whatever. We'll probably just settle some wreckages if he counters it. If he doesn't, we'll cast Glimmer. Alright. Well, it looks like it's Glimmer O'Clock. Might like only have one more negate in hand or something like that and wanting to save it for the actual approach. So let's see if this Glimmer resolves. What do we got here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess we want both of these. So we're drawing 3 cards with a card from our turn, so that puts us at 3 cards down for it. So we get to draw it next turn and cast it with negate backup if we choose. If you have to go to a tournament with an unknown metagame, would you play Blue-White Approach or Sultai Energy? Are those my only 2 choices? On a personal level, if those are my only 2 choices, I would play Blue-White Approach. But again, that's because it's not necessarily because Blue-White Approach is a better deck. It's because I understand the deck more and it's better for me. For an unknown person, I really don't know which is the correct choice for them. It all depends on their comfort level and things of that nature. Like, I don't think there's just one answer, like, you play this deck 100% of the time. Like if you're considerably better with one deck than the other deck, for example, you would play the other deck. For example, like, I know Temur Energy is the best deck in the format, but I tend to not play Temur Energy because I play it very poorly. So we have 1 negate here. He could easily have 2 counter spells, and if he does, we're not happy about it, but if those are the 2 choices, for me, I'd probably pick Sultai Approach, or I'd probably pick Blue-White Approach. So he could easily have 2 counter spells. It looks like he did. It took him a while to figure out which one he was going to play. He might have had a Spell Pierce or something. And Jace's Defeat or something. But if you're talking, if you have access to any deck, I still just think like Temur Energy / 4-Color Energy is the best decks in the format. And I may just be entirely wrong about that, but that's what I think. So this is kind of cool. We get to play that, and then we get to discard this and this. Then we get to buy this back. Discarding this. We've did Cuteness. He's got a counterspell. He'll probably counterspell this one. I think the Sultai deck is pretty good in a sense that like Glint Siphoner is amazing. It's got some of the best nut draws in the format, things of that nature. But like, I personally believe that Temur Energy is the best and most popular deck in the format at a high level, and I think Temur Energy has a strong matchup versus the other energy decks. And assuming that that's correct, which it may not be correct, I could just be wrong, but assuming it's correct and that Teamer's favored, then it doesn't make me want to play Sultai at all. But like I said, that might not even be correct. I could just be wrong about that. Like if Sultai beats Teamer, then there's an argument to play it, but I just don't think Sultai beats Tamer. Now, Jabberwocky posted a 4-color energy deck that I've personally not tested yet, but looked pretty darn interesting to me. This Settle the Wreckage needs to be very good. Hopefully they get to attack with the Riddle form too. That would make us much happy. Chose to put it on top. So that means the Riddle could be coming across. The Riddle is in fact coming across. Hopefully their last card's not another negate. I think they're roughly the same. I think they're pretty close to the same. So his last card was another negate. Oh, that is brutal. So we're going down to 9 here. We could just be dead next turn to a number of things. Hey, Chris, thank you for the Twitch. Thank you for the Twitch love, man. Appreciate it. Island in the Graveyard, snap yes, snap flip. Draw our card. Card's a dead card. Oh, he's got no cards in hand, so if we hit an approach, it's good enough. I think we've already cast an approach, right? I want to double check, but I'm pretty sure we've cast an approach. Yeah, we've cast an approach. So we just grab an approach and win then. No thinking involved. He has no cards in hand, so makes it pretty easy. Land him. Azcanta too strong. I don't think he was, but that's fine. I don't actually think he was. Hey, a little smiley face, a little heart. Anyway, 2-1, so we just got to win 1 out of the next 2 to acquire our pity chest back. Again, we were just testing some things with today's build. These cast outs, not having 3 and 4 of them have felt terrible. Or 3 or 4 of the effect. Again, I think there's an argument for some Ixalan's bindings over some number of cast outs. I don't think I want the full, like I wouldn't want 4 Ixalan's bindings. I might want like 2 and 2, or like 3 and 1, or like 3 and 0, but like, kind of feel like we need the 4-Pfeffer Meltdown back. I've kind of like put this version of the deck together to try to beat Mono Red, and we've got paired versus Mono Red none. We've been on average getting paired versus at almost 2 times the league lately. Still 2 matches left though. Is this our Mono Red opponent? Let's hope not, because this hand is stone miserable. That being said, I'm going to keep it because A, we have a draw step, B, we have this if worse comes to worse. So we're going to keep it. It's pretty loose keep. If this was a Glimmer, we would not have kept it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think the 2 farms need to get cut for 1 more meltdown and either a binding or a cast out. Possibly even the 4th Supreme Will for another binding and or cast out. Also, if we were on the 24 or 25 land version of this deck, we also probably wouldn't have kept that hand, but we are on the 26 land version on the draw, and we had 2 turns to hit the land. I think the 26 land is needed. It's felt pretty good to me, to be honest. I think if I wasn't running 26 lands, I'd probably look to put Ops back in the deck somehow. So game 1 versus these opponents are typically pretty good, but like it's not a given. Game 2 and 3 get much harder. We will Supreme Will any spell that can be Supreme Willed here. I don't care if it's even another Servant, I would Supreme Will it. Well, I'll rephrase, any relevant spell. Like if he casts Magma Spray on his own Servant, we wouldn't counterspell that. I am a large fan of Gideon, and I really like it in the main deck right now. I think it is very good versus the red decks, and very good versus the Temur decks, which I think are the number 1 and 2nd most played deck in the format. I think the Temur deck's also the top performing deck in the format, so... Fumigate in my graveyard. We have 1 in our hand already, and we really just want to draw lands, so we'll go ahead and drop that in the graveyard. One of the main reasons that I used the Supreme Will last turn, even though we have a Fumigate in our hand, is because we really want to be able to cast this Glimmer on this turn. Like, we don't want to use the Supreme Will on turn 4. We always want to cast a Glimmer on turn 4, if potential Glimmer or Hieroglyphic Illumination, whichever one you happen to have. In this case, we got lucky to have the Glimmer. Wow. He doesn't have another creature? Could just have Essence Scatters. Some builds have a Supreme Will. Could be any of those number of cards. In fact, because some builds have a Supreme Will, there's an argument that I could have played the Illumination here. Well, he tapped his mana wrong. JK. Put this back in our hand. We really cast this one. This one's the one on the stack, not the Glimmer. Glimmer's just hiding in our hand. Yeah. Could have played this better. I don't know if it's that big of a deal. I don't think I'm going to put that in my graveyard. I'm just going to draw it. There's some chances that I use it, and worst case scenario, we'd have an extra mana at the end of this turn, so we could just cycle it if we need to cycle it. So either way, it hits the graveyard. Like I immediately get punished. I'm like, some builds play a Supreme Will. I should have cast the other one. No, there's a Supreme Will. I should have cast the other one. We already have a Fumigate in our hand, so I think we're just going to Illumination. And then, based on what we draw with this Illumination, we'll decide whether we're cycling this one or not. And we will not cycle that one. We'll just cycle the center instead. So there's a land. Any card that I put in the graveyard now lets us flip the Azcanta. And we have a backup Wrath. We could cycle this to guarantee we flip the Azcanta, but we know that we're not going to be using the Azcanta this turn anyway. So we're casting a Fumigate, so I don't think it's worth cycling there. In fact, it's probably not even worth flipping the Azcanta there then. So, but the Azcanta flips whenever we want it to now. What do I lose to in match 1? Practically only mono red. Well, mono red, black red, Hazoret decks. Hazoret decks. Should just phrase it like that. Alright, so there's only 2 cast outs in this build, and spoiler, we don't have a cast out in our hands, so that's kind of bad. So this card can run away with the game here. So we felt pretty good. Island in the graveyard, sure. Flip it this time for sure. So we don't have a whole lot of time left, and we have to find the last cast out in the deck in our next 2 turns. We do get to look for a lot of cards in those next 2 turns, though. Excuse me. Alright, it's a Rogue Refiner. Not that worried about a Rogue Refiner. Start with this one. Let's see, that is a Settle to Wreckage, a Supreme Will, and an Effort Meltdown. Guess we'll take the Supreme Will, put those on the bottom in any order. Supreme Will gives us 4 cards, so there's our cast out. Any order. Whoops. Oh, hold up there, buddy. That's supposed to tap for a land. So this is our last cast out. And our life total is getting a little low now. But it's like not devastatingly low. And he's a little stalled on lands. Which is pretty nice for us, of course. Let's take the 3 damage. These got a second Chandra. We're probably just going to cut ourselves. Tap double red first. That's a bad sign. Don't you tap that force? Okay. We fine. Was not a Chandra. Whew. Scary times. It's a number of different cards we would take here. We'll take the one that can cycle. I come from a weird state, man. That's just our normal humor here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it offends. I don't mean offense. Just kind of how everybody talks here. I apologize if it's offensive at all. I will try to watch myself in the future. It's kind of like hard to like reprogram 30 years of like what you've heard and stuff though. You didn't know I was emo. I am pretty emo to be honest. Take the approach. That's probably game. Can't imagine it not being enough. I used to play a video game where if you even said that word, you got insta-banned. Which I always thought was kind of odd considering the game itself. So I think we just let me count my mana. Yeah, we just win. We don't have to worry about doing anything here. We just cast that, or we just use Azcanta into Azcanta and we win. We have enough mana left over. Our opponent drew miserably this game, but alright, well we don't even need to use the second one. We'll just use the first one then. Our opponent drew pretty miserably this game, but that's fine. We'll take what we can take. Alright. So scoot these on over here. Versus Teamer, I typically like to bring the cats in because I think the cats buy a reasonable amount of time on the ground. Like Long Tusk Cub's one of their biggest threats versus you. Everything else is so slow that you're already dealing with it. I need to check out his deck. I've been on a weird sleep schedule, and he's been streaming when I'm asleep lately, but I really, really, really like his stream. I think he's very entertaining. I think he's got a lot of sweet decks. So how do we sideboard here? Used to, we would trim on like one cast out, on like a couple glimmers and a couple of Supreme Wills. But now that we're already kind of short on the cast outs, it kind of makes me want the Supreme Wills a little more. Maybe we're just going to go ahead and cut those. I think on the draw, this card's still powerful because if they don't have a Servant of Conduit, all of their 3-drops are things that you really want to censor. Who is OPP? I don't know what that means. Yeah, you know me? Is that what I'm supposed to say? I think that's a song. I'm not sure. Not actually sure what the last 2 cards I should sideboard out here are. Let's just bring in 3 cats. I thought about only playing a 3-cat build today, so let's just try 3 cats then. I don't know if that's right, but like I said, I was considering cutting one of the cats from the sideboard anyway. See ya, cats. Appreciate it, man. The problem with trying to negate his negates is the only cards that I care about resolving are my Fumigates and my Settles, and I'm generally needing to do that on turn 4 and 5. Like, I don't care if he counterspells my approach late in the game. And, like, the other spells don't really help versus... Like, the negates don't help me get a Fumigate through or a Settle through on time. Punished. Should have led us to Plains. Turn 1. Now I'm realizing that, and that's not a mistake I'll make again. Wow, that's pretty bad of me. I'm a little salty that I'm that bad. No, I'm not really salty. I say I'm salty a lot when I'm not salty. I just talk to hear myself, I think. I think most of my friends realize that too. Alright, so opponent has a miserable draw again, and because this hand's so miserable, we're not going to cycle our Supreme Will. We're just going to keep on keeping on. If he doesn't play anything for 3 more turns, we can say we got him. We've played the Gearhulks a lot. Like, they've been in most of our builds, but we've recently shaved them because I believe there's enough Scarab Gods coming out of the Teamer decks and enough Scarab Gods in like the Esper tokens list and stuff that they're just a liability in too many matches. There's just so few matches I would bring them in. Like, I wouldn't even have sideboarded them in here, you know? Like, I have no idea whether our opponent has Scarab God or not. And if our opponent has Scarab God, I don't want the card at all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. Cycle main phase because we could hit a Gideon. Did not hit a Gideon, so go on about our day. That's fair. The best way to win at Magic is to stop being bad at Magic. Can't even disagree with that. Now win 75% more matches too if our opponents just draw like this every game. Like, we've literally cast one Censor before turn 7. Anyway, so we know it's 6 cards down after our draw step. Could still lose this game, though. Like, opponent now has this blue land. He has to choose between putting a threat on the board and hoping we don't have an approach. He chose wisely. Unless the top of the deck rewards us. We were not rewarded. I don't know why I'm even saying rewarded. It's not like our opponent made a play mistake or anything. Alright, so we can guaranteed draw our approach next turn. Meltdown's the spare, so. Meltdown aplenty. We're just going to take the draw step. The opponent could just have like a bunch of negates in hand. Which means this hand could be quite a bit better than ours. So you know it's 5 cards down now. We had a Supreme Will. I'm not casting the approach anytime soon, so I figured I would just try to draw relevant spells. Like, I wasn't going to cast the approach this turn because it'd be too easy for him to negate it. So my plan was to get to where I could potentially play the Supreme Will and the negate, and the approach in one turn, which requires all the lands we currently have. So that's 3 mana for a Deathscourge Scavenger. That's fine. We don't have Gearhooks in our deck, so we're not worried about that. We still have this extra for Meltdown in our hand. Alright, we'll just save the time here so we can press F6. Opponent has double the cards in her hand as we do. Really need to draw an Azcanta to like put this game away. So we still have a Supreme Will. We can still draw to approach if he like taps his mana out or some like random thing. Alright. Rogue Refinerino. So no, it's 4 cards down now. Attune. Yeah, he's going out of his way to make sure he always has that blue mana up. He can mill my card with his Deathscourge or Scavenger. I'm not worried about that. If we get lucky and draw a random approach, we can still win. That's not a random approach, that's just another land. Not drawing that many spells this game. 1, 2, 3, 4. The approach is 5. So we've drawn 6 spells this game. in 18 cards. Sorry, 6 spells in 19 cards. So we'll take a couple hits from this Rogue Refiner, and then we're going to play the Fumigate. That's a good one. That might prompt some kind of counter spell out of him. If not, it'll buy a lot of time. And by a lot of time, I mean he could just like untap and have Glorybringer, but whatever. It does make him commit at least more to the board. I think we're in okay shape as long as he doesn't draw Chandra before we draw one of our 2 Glimmers. Yeah, one of our 2 Glimmers, or like a third, or like another Supreme Will. So we have like 2 more Supreme Wills in the deck as well. Yeah, there's 26 lands in this particular build. But it's not like we drew 1 land too many. We've drawn like 5 land too many. I don't want to shuffle my deck right now because we know we're going to redraw and approach kind of soon. So this is the type of game that makes Light Soda, what he said about bringing in the gates, seem a lot better, but like, did we know our opponent was going to get mana screwed for like 45 turns? So that's a Chandra, and that's what we call a problem. Hey, Lexicon, thank you for the follow, man. Or thank you for the host, rather. Appreciate it. I actually think this game was losable. Now I'm not sure if this game's really winnable. Supreme Willing to Chandra doesn't do me any good. They could have just paid 3 mana. They have 4 mana untapped. If we knew that we were drawing to approach this turn or whatever, which we weren't drawing to approach that turn, but like if somehow we knew we were drawing to approach, it would be reasonable because we could tap them out to untap and play the approach, but like we weren't drawing to approach this turn. Well, I mean, there's 2 approaches in our deck that we have no idea where is. We could have drawn an approach this turn, but we knew we were not drawing the 1 approach this turn. So opponent ticked it up for mana this turn, which is odd. Like he's got multiple negates in his hand. There's just no way that opponent doesn't have multiple counter spells. Guess I'm just gonna cast the Subtle Wreckage here? I don't know. Kinda wanna keep the Gideon around, even if it's just for a turn. It stops the 2 damage. It does not stop the emblem. But like he could have still just got card advantage from it. He could have tried to draw a card. I don't think we're winning this game. I think we have to draw pretty good to win this game. Hey, Lupox, thank you for the follow, man. Highly appreciate it. I think I'm just setting on this Supreme Will for way too long. So, how much mana do we have? 5, 6, 11, 12. I don't really like either of them. Neither of them, like, I definitely don't want Angel of Sanctions. There's very few matches that I think Angel of Sanctions is even good in standard right now, much less in this particular deck. Alright, maybe he doesn't have it. Who knows? We've gotten luckier in the past, right? That our opponent's drawn 30 cards and not found a counterspell. As for the Gideon's Intervention, like, it's plausible. It's good for the call versus, like, Scarab God and stuff, but so many of those cards, like, they're things just like say they have a Chandra in play and then you cast a Gideon's Intervention. The Chandra can still kill you. Say you have a Scarab God in play and then you cast like the Gideon's Intervention has to come down first. And you're doing a lot of guessing about what's in their hand. Hey, Nucalyptus. Nucalyptus? Nucalyptus, that sounds right. Like, the only time that it feels super good to me is when I'm casting on Hazoret. It's also okay to cast on, like, some of the tokens from the Abzan decks, but, like, I don't think you're beating the Abzan, or not the Abzan decks, but the Hidden Stockpile decks. I don't think you're beating the Hidden Stockpile decks in general. So I don't think we're going to beat the Chandra Ultimate this game. And our opponent's almost guaranteed to have another negate in their hand. Goodbye, Gideon. We will miss you. Oh, he attacked me and not the Gideon? Wow. I guess it's because he can get a Chandra emblem on the Gideon at some other point. Like, that still feels like a win for me? Yes, we are playing these Gideon's main board. Or main deck. So here's the card we needed 35 turns ago to have a chance to win. If he casts negate here, we'll just scoop. So we really needed to search for Azcanta at any point in this game, and I think we would have probably ran away with it, but now that he's got a Chandra Ultimate, I think it's just way too late. All he needs is 4 spells and he wins. I guess I could have minused the Gideon there, or sorry, emblemed the Gideon there to make him need 5 spells to win, but let's face it, we're not super worried about that. Like, we're pretty dead if he has it anyway. Whether it be this turn or next is fairly irrelevant. Turns out it wouldn't have mattered this 4 spells either way because he's got a Glorybringer. You know, that's a pretty good call, Brian. I never attack with my Gideons because I'm stupid and forget they can do that. I always forget that card can do that. That was pretty bad of me. Wow, that was really bad of me. So we'd have 10 extra life now if I did that? Yep, probably would have won. Well, might not have won, rather, but, like, obviously would have survived his turn is what I meant. Like, I never do that. It's like the third or fourth time I've not did that. Doesn't look like it mattered whatsoever, but it was still a mistake. It doesn't seem like it mattered at all, but it was still a mistake. Alright, so... I didn't even see a Harness Lightning from him, so it makes me like the Caracols a little bit more. Like, these are all the cards that seem reasonable here to me. And a couple negates seem reasonable. I don't think they're good, but they seem reasonable. Okay, this is all the cards that seem reasonable. Now, what seems worse? I'm certainly not cutting this card ever. I'm certainly not cutting this card ever. I am certainly not cutting these cards ever. Certainly not cutting these cards. So I have to play 10 of those 16 cards. I get to play 10 of these 16 cards. Maybe I just don't need Caracols anymore. Maybe trying to play the Caracols might just be a big mistake, especially because he's got like Carnage Tyrant and stuff now, which make them chump block a lot less effectively. He showed us Glorybringers and Chandras too, which can deal with the front half of the cat. Yeah, we're just gonna try without the cats. Does this seem reasonable? I don't know, maybe negates are okay. Probably don't want more than one or two, though. Alright, deal. We'll just try this, and we'll try not to play this game bad. I think I got in a kind of a stupor last game where, like, I thought we'd won the game, and then, like, I kept making worse and worse plays because, in my mind, the game was over. And then, like, it wasn't close to over. I think this hand's pretty reasonable. It can, but I don't really like it. Versus the other control decks, they already have Vraska's Contempts, and they're probably not sideboarding out their Essence Scatters, which means you're giving them a chance to steal it with Scatter God, or, Scarab God. And in a similar scenario to, like, this match, like, you can just get counterspelled from an Essence Scatter or something, but beyond that, like a scare, it just doesn't feel like it wins the game. It feels like it feels like a card that you want when you're playing a super grindy control mirror, and like blue-white approach really isn't a control deck, at least in the general scheme of the deck. I don't know whether I'm supposed to melt down this or whether I'm supposed to try to Pharma Market it, but we're going to try to Pharma Market it. Like, I don't view this as a control deck. I think this deck's closer to Turbo Fog than a true control deck. Sure. Can't stop it, so have to take it. Don't have a second white mana for this Fumigate at the moment. Alright. Go ahead and cycle this thing, I guess. Hello, approach that we may never cast. How much energy is too much energy? He used it all. Alright, well. Bring us land, my friend. That's not land. That's not land at all. Yeah, so we'll put this one in the graveyard, I guess. And we will put... Oh god, this one isn't an easy decision. Huh. I guess the Gideon? Land? Alright, well, we at least hit the land. Problem is now he can resolve a Chandra pretty easily. And that brings us a whole new load of problems. We still need to hit many more lands as well. Yeah. There's Chandra. And a whole new load of problems. It's going to be hard to beat this Chandra this game. I guess I'll start with this. I assume he's got... I don't know, he didn't attack with the servant and I'm not actually sure why. Not actually sure why he didn't attack with that servant. He's using it for mana. I'm pretty sure we just lose this game. I don't actually think we can win from here. We can draw exactly cast out. And then have our negate be useful. So casting the approach doesn't really do anything because we know he has a negate. That's fair. Still have to draw a cast out to even have a chance. Don't think we have much of a chance here. No, well, that was a good draw. Because, like, say, I don't know. If I kept the Fumigate, I couldn't cast a cast out and a Fumigate next turn, and if he ultimates this game's just over. Maybe I should have kept the Gideon, but I didn't even have the white mana at the time. Looks like the Gideon's the one thing that would have gave us a chance this game. He may not counterspell this, and then that gives us a chance to draw a cast out if he doesn't. That's not a cast out. So I guess we're just dead. It's just ultimate Chandra and any two spells kills us. I'll be streaming in the AM hours, like probably around midnight or 1 a.m., and I'm going to stream a standard Innistrad flashback thingy. Like one of the flashback things is what I'm going to stream tonight. This is our second opponent that's going to beat us with under 5 minutes left. So any spell and we're dead. Could have cast a spell first so we could have conceded. He probably has a counter spell. Oh, never mind. Could have saved our 3 seconds, but our 3 seconds isn't that relevant. Alright, well, I didn't play that game particularly well, and not having the 3 to 4 cast outs is really biting us in the ass this tournament. It's like really crushing us. I think if we want to go cast outless, we need to cut all the cast outs and all the Gideons and maybe play Hour of Revelation. So my go, that's the reason the Pro Tour coverage tomorrow is the Pro Tour coverage is why that I'm going to be streaming during the night instead of the normal day. Like I don't want to overlap with it, and I personally want to watch it. So, all right, I've never mulliganed a hand in my life versus an unknown opponent where I've had a turn 2 search for Azcanta. Hey, Geo, wait, we know this guy. He watches the stream. No ghosting, man. Nah, I don't care if you ghost. I think he plays Approach too. I'm not sure. I think he plays Approach as well. He's double queuing. He's also in the practice room. Oh no, he's playing Blue-White Eternalize. This match is probably very good pre-board, very bad post-board. Fumigate in their graveyard? Why, heck yes, we need lands. Land. Land Arena. Tell my opponent he can ghost. I don't even care. I don't play hard counter spells, so there's not a lot to ghost. Really hope we get the Sphinx's Revelation deck tonight. El Charta Corsorino. It's a pretty sweet card. Probably taking a land here. I can't imagine taking anything that's not a land or an approach. Can't imagine keeping anything that's not a land or an approach. Pity chest on the line. At least we got another match that's exceptionally good for us game 1. Game 2 and 3, much harder. I think they play Gideon's Intervention even. So this is another match that not having the cast outs is going to just crush me. Yeah, that was not well thought out when I cut 2 cast outs out of my deck. When I originally cut the first 2, I was going to put Hours of Revelation in the side, and then I like balked on it and decided the Hours of Revelations wasn't worth it. And now we're like kind of here. That card's probably too good to let him have. Yeah, that card's probably too good to let him have. Censor in the graveyard, snap yes. Ooh, that card's kind of cool. We'll just take our additional 2 damage here. Killing that thing, it comes back stronger than it ever was, or I give him a land. 2 things that I don't want to do. What is this? An Ixalan's Binding on my search for Azcanta. Yep, that's strong enough that I'm going to look for a counterspell. That's not a counterspell. I don't want either of those. We did draw a nice one, though, when we drew that for Meltdown. There's 2 cast outs in this deck somewhere. Save us both the time. Me and Geo got living to do. Champion of Wits, it can come back if I get rid of it, so I guess he can have it. Really just looking for an approach right now. Hello, approach. I don't think he can kill me before we kill him, especially when we have 3 Wrath of Gods in our hand. But he may have made some alterations to the deck list. I assume he's still on the same list that we were playing the other day. I have been two'd. So no, it's 6 cards down. So they get negates and stuff post board, which is pretty helpful. Just take 2 more damage. Chart the course. There's even spell pierces in this sideboard. So now it's 2 cards down, and we know it's the top card of our library after our draw step. So post board, I believe he'll have negate, spell pierces, and 3 Gideon's interventions, which is going to cause quite a bit of issues. Probably have to bring in the full 4 negates. Just in case. We might bring in our Sunscourger champions and Regal Caracals just to give us more blockers, but not actually sure. Alright, so he milled our approach. So we're going to continue to play this game. He only got 1 of them, though. Oh no, Lord, he got 2 of them. So there's only 1 approach left in our deck. So we have a cast out to get our search for Azcanta. Now he hit a Field of Ruin. Do we want to get our Field of Ruin first? Yeah, I think we'll just wait and try to find our Field of Ruin before we pop the Azcanta like that. Actually, we may just go ahead and get the Azcanta for next turn. There's a good chance that we can just draw another Azcanta with it. Hey, Super X Fiora, what's up, man? Yeah, that might be where we need to go. A few people have responded to that, and I've been always super reluctant to do it, but like, I'm starting to think more and more that maybe I just should. Sure. Yeah, it seems reasonable too. Alright, we're just gonna go ahead and get this back for the one turn. Yes, melt down to the graveyard. Yes, we'll transform. Yes, we'll draw a card. Still have 7 mana if we hit. We, in fact, did not hit. Guess we'll main phase do this. So another search for Azcanta. I don't think we need it. I think this is pretty much all the cards in our deck at this point. So we just put 6 cards on the bottom we don't want. So when he kills our search for Azcanta, I probably am not even going to shuffle, I don't think. Man, I do not want that Scarab God. Oh, apparently we don't have the option. We have to shuffle. I did not realize that. I thought we had the option. Yeah. Most of those cards say May. I was thinking Ghost Quarter. Just don't think you want a creature kill condition like that. Sure. This gives us something to farm. Still just 23 cards left in our deck, though. We have a lot of go get 'em. So let's start with you. If he uses Derivalet, I'll probably Supreme Will in response. Wait, what happened? Oh, okay, there it is. I guess I'll Supreme Will in response. Supreme Will gives us a chance to look at a lot of cards. Huh. I guess we'll take the cast out here then. Let's cycle the cast out too. Alright. I guess we'll discard this one and this one. And then we'll just pass turn with 14 cards in our library, and we finally got the approach back in our hand. It would have been kind of hard to win this game had we missed that approach. Especially if one of our rivulets already there. 9. Yeah, I don't think we could have won. I punted that Teamer match really bad. It's just now starting to hit me. Alright. So we got game 1, but I think this match is actually pretty hard, especially post board. So post board, we definitely want these. That's pretty easy. We may actually want some number of these cards just to like block with and stuff. Why won't it let me move them? Screw you, Moto. Come on, Moto. May want some number of these cards. Thank you, Moto. I appreciate your help. So I don't think Fumigate's super great here. I think Settle the Wreckage is slightly better, so I think it's pretty safe to shave a couple of those. Also don't think Censor's super great. I don't think Effort Meltdown's super great either. Probably don't want these. Maybe it's just some number of Censors get sided out. They do not have their own. Man, what's wrong with me today? I used to never sideboard out Censor. I used to never side out Censor. There must be something very wrong with me. Seems bad, don't do it. Again, I'll keep this hand. He's already mulliganed, and we have two very strong cards in our hand. Ooh, they don't have blue mana? Maybe? We got best card. Best card's a good card. We did put on top of the library of that other thing. What are we looking at here? Supreme Will to our graveyard? Sure. Cast out to our hand? More sure. Probably only saving these cast outs for Gideon's interventions. Unless things are going incredibly poorly. Champion of the Wits. Cat to my graveyard? Sure. Cat's kind of cool, but it's not really what I want on that turn. Like, our hand's so dead that I really just want to try to find a real spell, which we were rewarded with a real spell, so. It takes quite a while for him to kill this Gideon. The fifth land. Probably counterspell this. Hope he doesn't have spell pierce. It's pretty strong, but then again, I guess we're not really casting fumigates. Whatever, he can have it. We have better things to do with our Supreme Wills. Watch me cut myself, by the way, whenever I do find a fumigate or whatever. Guess you're better than the other one. What do we do with you? Farm to market to the graveyard. Why, yes. Oh, God. Did I say that? Did I make that joke again? Oh, God, man. It's just habit. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say it again. Wow. I am not fit to watch stream. Man, I have to watch what I say. So opponent's down to one card in hand. And he finally has enough gas to kill the Gideon. Yeah, post any links you want, as long as it's not like racist or sexual or something of that nature. Goodbye, Gideon. We're going to miss you. You were our favorite, Gideon. You were our favorite, Gideon. We will miss you, Gideon. Goodbye, Gideon. We loved you. We loved you long time. Let's just pop up the list real quick and then go back to the match. I'll pull it over for the people on YouTube that are wanting to see what we'll be talking about. Ooh. So like they can pause it or like, I don't know, move it to the side or something. Post all that stuff back there. I did not even see he had that in his graveyard. I am Blinderino. So what do we got here? Search for Azcanta, Harvesters, 23 lands, some 4 drops. Wanted Scoundrels, what are you? Oh, you're that cool 4/3. Card's kind of cool. So how do we win now? I thought we were going to win the game, and now it feels like we're just not going to win the game. And he put another one of these in his graveyard. Now he has 5 cards. I don't think we can win anymore. Apparently, I should have counterspelled this when I had the chance. I need both of these cards. There's more negates in the deck than they are settled wreckages, so. I don't like showing him the settled wreckage is the problem. I don't want to put that in my graveyard either. I don't really want to cast Fumigate. This deck looks kind of sweet. It's got a lot of stuff going on. The lands look okay. Oh, crap, I saw something at the bottom of it right before I closed it. I don't know if opponent realizes that we couldn't cast the Settle that he saw that turn. 23 lands. Removed 4 Wondered, and 2 for 3 Doomfalls and 3 Bone Pickers. Fair. Mistake. Yeah, our opponent has just like a handful of cards now. Make things a lot harder. I just kind of just don't want him buying all this stuff back when he has that in play. I mean, I think I have to now, but like I didn't want to. If he's got double counterspell, we're going to lose. Should have played this land in case it's double spell pierce. Spell pierce. Spell pierce. Spell pierce. That's what we say. The opponent has 6 cards. Opponent has 6 nards. He's also got 3 rivulets. His deck plays Gideon Intervention, and we only have 2 ways in our entire deck to get around to Gideon Intervention. I don't think we can afford to waste a cast out on just stopping him from getting a lot of stuff. Like, we're just dead if he plays a Gideon Intervention and we use our cast outs. And he's gone through like almost 30 cards. If I had the full 4 cast outs, I would, but he also has like Ixalan bindings and stuff to get this back. I can't see those cards. What are they? Negate, Fumigate, Settle the Wreckage. We'll take the negate. Getting closer to having a chance. I think we have a chance. Opponent could draw poorly. He can only have 1 counterspell, even though I think there's 6 counterspells in his deck. Cast out something new. I don't believe the build I played had cast outs. Let's start with this. Make him spend his turn at least. So we draw an approach. And now we have a negate and an approach. And a negate. Should be good enough, but he could have Spell Pierce and negate in his hand. Gonna just go for it anyway. Maybe we're not just gonna go for it anyway. See, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus negate, negate. Yeah, we're definitely gonna go for it then. Had to counter mana to make sure. He knows we have this negate. He saw it from the Azcanta. I guess I just paid a mana. We throw our hands in the air and wave them like we just don't care, folks. Alright, GG Geos. We got there. I think that match is kind of hard. So let's go back and look at the deck list. Today we lost to Temur. We beat a Miracle Grow Brew. We beat Blue White Eternalize. We let's try to think of the matches. What else did we lose to? I'm sure somebody in chat can remind me, but I don't remember what we even lost to. We lost to Temur and something. Huh. I legitimately have no idea what we lost to. Anyway, so back to looking at the list. This no cast out experiment went poorly. We wanted these cards in nearly every match. So we at least won a third, if not a fourth. There could be some argument that some of these are bindings, but I'm just using a cast out as placeholders for the moment. The Illuminations versus the Glimmer Geniuses seemed okay, actually. The Farmer Markets were actually okay again today as well, which was a problem. Because if the Farmer Markets are good enough to play, then I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the deck. As for the sideboard, we have 11 cards versus Mono Red, with some overlap with some of the other decks, but we just didn't get paired versus any Mono Red. Which is kind of odd. By the way, I just noticed Kim's been asking me to play this deck for days, and then when I finally play it, Kim never showed her up. But that's fine. If we're playing the Illuminations, maybe we can cut a land? Really? The Search for Azcanta is the best card in the deck. By a lot. I'm closer to wanting a fourth than I'm wanting two. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying that I've felt this is the best card in the deck by a lot. Like, versus every single deck that doesn't play Hazoret, I want one of these. And versus most decks, because of cast outs and Field of Runes and counter spells, like I often want two of these. And negates, like I often want two of these. I know they're legendary, and I know that sucks, but I think the power of the card's so insane. Yeah, like these four cards seem like the 3-drops seem like the weakest cards. It could be the 26th land. We even have the hieroglyphic eliminations for cycling now. Maybe we just want to cut one of the lands, and maybe we want to cut one of the farm markets. Maybe something like this. I think Gideon's a little better than farm market. Yeah, Gideon is a little worse card for us. Yeah, but the problem with just running one of these is like, again, like Field of Runes, cast outs, negates, lowering your odds of drawing it. So like if I want one on turn 2 every game, right? If I want one on turn 2 every game, and I've got a 60 card deck, there's only 2, my sample size is 8 cards. Like the odds of having it's 25%. That's insane. Like I think the card's so powerful that I want it turn 2 every game. And that's just 25%. We gain 10% by adding each additional copy. Like, I'm pretty sure that I want 4. I'm closer to wanting 4 than I am wanting a 25%. And that's including the draw. Obviously, it gets a little higher if you're on the draw or whatever. But I mean, this doesn't take into account that like sometimes you mulligan and stuff, but you're almost a coin flip to have it on the draw and a mulligan without, or sorry, on the draw on turn 2. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm very reluctant to cut an Azcanta. You could be right, but like I'm super reluctant to do it. Whoops. Did not mean to pop that up there. Gotta go click on Twitch and start today's upload of yesterday's. Take care, Johnny Crow. And like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just talking about my personal experiences with the card. Let's go ahead and start exporting the Sultai deck. But anyway, so that's going to be it for us tonight. I'll probably be back. I don't know, it's 5 now. Probably back in somewhere between 7 to 9 hours. To do a flashback standard. But we're going to find somebody real quick to host, and then we're going to hop off here. We still like this deck. Like, it's still super fun to play. I just really don't think it's super competitive at the moment. So Thundermo's streaming Blue-White Eternalize. The Candio streaming a Gifts deck. I think I'm gonna host ORS MTGO. He's playing different formats right now, and he's a very, very good Magic player. So like, I'm just gonna give him some love. Go talk to him. Pick the format he plays. But anyway, take care, everybody, and have fun. And thanks for stopping by. And see you sometime later tonight.